Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and it's time to catch up with someone who has you've hung up your cleats. Auston, has it sunk in yet?
It has. I don't even have any cleats to hang up. I gave them all away, so I'm done.
When it came to making the decision, how difficult was it? Because I know that some athletes, when they want to hang out at the party long past closing time. So how and some folks, some folks are like Jim Brown or Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, and they're like, yeah, okay, we're going to do it that way. Some folks stay at the party too long. For you, what was the decision process like?
It was pretty gradual. It's not like I just had one moment where all of a sudden I said, okay, I'm done. It's kind of been a process over the last couple of years, really. Just kind of thinking about, where I'm at in my career, what I want, going forward. And, eventually just kind of got to the point where I had been thinking about it so much that it just felt like, okay, if you're thinking about it this much, then it's probably time. Didn't want to overstay my welcome, like you said. So it just felt like a good stopping point.
When it comes to your career, what are you going to remember the most about the time that you played as a professional?
That's a good question. I think, because so much of my career has been spent here in North Carolina and in the Triangle area, most of my memories come from this community and getting to know this community and the supporters here and sort of trying to become a big part of this club. I think that's kind of just what's going to stay with me is the way that I made my home here, and how accepting and supportive the community and the club have been. I think that's kind of what it comes to mind first.
When it comes to that community and how it has embraced the sport, what has it been like for you to see how the sport has grown to where it is now there in North Carolina?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Having grown up not too far from here, just a couple hours away, I would have killed to have, a professional club of this caliber. I would have killed to have that around when I was a kid, to be able to be that club for kids that are coming up through our own academy and from even further out, around this area. It's awesome. It's awesome to see kids aspire to play for their hometown club right here in Raleigh, in North Carolina. It's really been a privilege to watch it grow and become that.
How do you think it can continue to grow there, and what should folks do to make sure that the growth doesn't stop?
I think we just got to keep getting people out to the stadium, keep getting people out at games. It's not just us. Obviously, we have the Courage here as well, who have sort of become the standard bearers for the club in a lot of ways. They've won 3 championships in the last 4 years, 3 Shields in a row. So just continuing to support them, support us, get people in the stands, and show them what a great experience it is, to be at the stadium for these games and show them that the quality of soccer is really, really high. People assume because we're not MLS that it's not high quality, but, the USL has grown so much over the last few years, and there's some really, really great, exciting young players in this league that you can see week in, week out right here. So just getting people in the stands and showing them a good time, I think, is sort of the bottom line.
Is there anything that you didn't get to accomplish that you wished you had? Is there something on that whiteboard on the fridge that, or at the back of the notebook that you sat there and you could cross off things as you go? Is there things that you wish that you had been able to do?
Not too many. I think, obviously, the easy answer is I would have loved to win a championship. Won a couple regular season championships, but didn't get the one at the end of the season that counts. So that's a big one. I think it would have been nice, but it's rare. It's a rare thing to win a championship. Not everyone gets to do it, obviously. So not feeling too bad about myself about that one, but that would have been great.
And I know that as we've talked in the past and had you on the show and had you on the network, you've talked about foundation work and all of your charity work. And I know that that's meant a lot to you, and you get to devote time to that now even more so. When you look at your charitable work, what are you looking to do and continue to build on that?
I think, I'm really, when I look at my career, I think that's sort of the thing I'm most proud of, and I hope will have the most, lasting impact. I hope that players that have been involved in my efforts and, in playing for Pride, continue to feel a response to use their platform to speak up about things that are important and things that they care about. So I'm not sure it's so much what I'm going to do going forward. I just hope that, what I've done, continues to encourage people to, reach out and do positive things in their own communities and not just, stick to sports, to continue to get out there and explore all the ways that we can impact our communities.
When you talk about the whole sticking to sports mentality, I think that there are some athletes who aren't afraid to speak their minds and understand that their voice can be a platform for whatever they're speaking about. But then there are others who basically it's their way. I mean, they'll keep their head down. They'll do whatever they want to do when it comes. They may do it quietly. They may just have others do it on their behalf. When you see athletes these days, are you seeing more who are speaking up and are being active, or is it still just kind of a case-by-case basis?
I think there's definitely been a trend of athletes, speaking up more and getting more involved in issues off the field, whether they're political or social or whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of a sign of the times. We need people speaking up. We need people making positive impacts. And athletes are in such a unique position where, they do have a big platform and they can speak to so many different groups of people at the same time that maybe, wouldn't otherwise hear these messages. So, yeah, I think, the more athletes can educate themselves on issues that are impacting the people in their communities and impacting them, the more comfortable they'll be speaking out. But yeah, I think it's great. I think the more that we can make that happen, the better off we're going to be.
How long did it take you to be comfortable to where you understood that this was something that you wanted to do? How long a process was that for you?
I think it was a good amount of time, and I still, it's a process that's ongoing. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to educate myself about things that I don't feel comfortable speaking up about yet. I think whenever I open my mouth about something, I want to make sure that I at least feel like I know what I'm talking about. Other people may argue that point, but yeah, I want to be confident in the things that I'm saying and the messages that I'm sending. So it's definitely a process for everybody, and everybody kind of goes at their own pace. But I think the more that you learn, the better off you'll be when you do decide to speak up and to sort of join the conversation.
When you get yourself as the athlete and kind of detached now, how would you have described yourself as a professional football player? When you're sitting in the stands, you've removed yourself from yourself. You see Auston Duluth, the football player, down there on the pitch. How would you like to be remembered as a footballer?
I think just, as somebody who always worked hard and somebody who always put the team before himself. I think I won't sell myself short. I think that I was a good player, but by no means was I ever the best player on any team I've been on or the best player on the field at any given time. But I just hope that, people respect the way that I played and the way that I worked. And I hope that, my teammates and people I played against respected me and enjoyed the time that we spent together on the field.
Auston, Red Bulls, DC United, Railhawks, Orlando City, North Carolina FC, and obviously the time at Wake. How much of a grind is it for today's professional athlete to do what they love? Because, I mean, you look at your senior career and, short of the end where you spent 5 seasons in Raleigh, you were bouncing around pretty good. How difficult is it to be a professional athlete these days?
Well, it depends on what sport you're playing. But I think for soccer, it's getting easier. I think it's still difficult in the lower divisions. I think it's kind of a crapshoot depending on where you end up. Some clubs take better care of players than others, and you know, like you said, I spent a lot of time here in Raleigh. It's actually 8 total seasons here. So that was a process here for our club as well. You know, when I got here, it was a totally different club than it is now. We've come a long way. But I think what you're seeing is a general trend around the league and around the country, that clubs are starting to take better care of their players. They're starting to pay better. So it's becoming easier. If this is what you want to do, it's becoming easier to find opportunities and to, you know, continue to progress. You know, than maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was a little bit more difficult to sort of sustain yourself in these lower leagues. And in MLS as well. MLS has come a really long way just in the 10 years since I was drafted. You know, I think I came into the league at a pretty good time and things were going well, but even since then, I think things have gotten even better. And I think there are still strides to be made, especially for the young American players, in MLS. But I think generally it's becoming easier for sure.
All right, now that you've given away all of your boots, nothing's hanging on a door anywhere. No long tied shoestring or anything like that to serve as almost like a doorbell. But what are your next steps? I mean, what are you going to do with your life next, Auston?
That's a good question. Still trying to figure that out. Just having a lot of conversations with people, trying to figure out what direction I want to go in and kind of what I want to do. You know, I think the thing that I've tried to focus on and tried to get through my own head is that, you know, whatever I do next isn't the thing that I'm going to be doing 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. You know, it's just kind of, the next step doesn't have to be the rest of my life. So I'm hoping to just find something that I'm interested in that seems worthwhile and just continue to grow and learn and hopefully find something down the line that I do enjoy and want to do long term. But right now it's just all about talking to people and trying to find the right opportunity for the next little bit here.
Is the charity work going to continue?
I hope so, in some capacity. I'm not sure exactly what it'll look like or how involved I will be. Those are conversations I still need to have with Athlete Ally, the organization that Playing for Pride benefits. But like I said, I just hope that legacy remains and that somebody, you know, if it's not me, will pick up the mantle and continue to spread that message of inclusion and positivity.
Well, Auston, as always, class act, and thanks for hanging out with us as much as you have, as much as you are, as much as you will when it comes to everything. Just enjoy the next stage of your life. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on things through social media and all the things that get posted as these next steps go. But thank you, number 6, for hanging out with us here on SDH and letting us tell everybody what may be next and what's going on in the mind of Auston Duluth. Thanks again, Auston.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate all your support and all your coverage is fantastic. So keep it going, and thanks again.